I think you know who the next guy is. Dr. Mike Davis. I'm stealing your thunder, bro.
Good morning again. I can still remember standing up here last year. I was excited, and I'll admit I was a little bit nervous. It's hard being the new kid. You aren't sure if you'll make friends or if people will welcome you. Looking back on that day, though, I could say my nervousness was unfounded. You've welcomed me with open arms, and I wake up every day happy to come to work. I know that sounds like a line, but this campus is full of people who want to build a better Fairmont state. You've showed up every day with innovative ideas and a feeling of hope that gives me the energy I need to be the president I must be. Last year, I laid out some of the characteristics I would need to be a successful president. To refresh your memory, last year I made 3 promises. 1, I would tell you the truth. 2, I would trust your expertise. And 3, I would show up often. Based on the results of the presidential perception surveys completed by faculty and staff last year, you believe I'm making good progress towards these goals. I know that we still have a lot of work to do, but I also know we're going in the right direction. A big part of continuing to move in that direction is the continued work on our strategic plan. Building on our discussions with on-campus divisions, we held more strategic planning workshops this summer with off-campus stakeholders. Next, we'll engage local organizations and students upon their return to campus. These efforts will culminate in a university-wide discussion and publication of a 10-year strategic vision, which will guide our efforts to shape the future of the university. As we launched our new strategic vision, I've asked you to include some impossible goals. As you can imagine, our accreditors and others who evaluate strategic plans don't love my phrasing, so instead we're looking for aspirational goals that can come out of this process. When this plan is published, these goals are going to seem big and daunting. So I wanted to take a moment today to talk to you about what I see as a guiding principle when we do this work. When we talk about audacious or innovative, and yes, even impossible goals, getting there is going to seem far off at times from the place we're starting. It'll seem like we'll take a small miracle to get to where we need to be. So I want us to dream those big dreams, but the only way we're going to get there is if we do the work every single day to get there. So about a year ago, I met with a member of the campus community, who I now consider a good friend, and they suggested a book, Atomic Habits, to me. The book is written by James Clear, and in it, he argues that we focus so much on what's far away or impossible that that end goal seems like something we won't even attempt because we can't see the path to get there. In actuality, though, all great change has occurred by focusing on building on small changes, habits that add up over time to change an organization, a culture, or a society. And remember, when we started the strategic planning process, the first question we asked was, what sort of society do you want to live in? It takes a long time to build something truly great. And when the goal is far off, it's often hardest to do the work in those early days. But the only way great, sustainable things have ever been done is by putting in the work when it doesn't move the needle in ways that people might not notice. When a student walks across the stage at commencement, we see a great accomplishment, but we don't see the thousands of interactions they had on campus to get them to that point. When we say we're a great place to work, we can't just be talking about what happens in formal relationship with supervisors, but it also must be in the small ways that we support each other every single day. Being the best regional university in the state is not something that I or my leadership team can do alone. We need every single one of you to be committed to that habit. In my favorite passage from the book, the author states, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform you, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. This is one reason why meaningful change does not require radical change. Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. And if the change is meaningful, it's actually big. That's the paradox of making small improvements." So to paraphrase a little bit, every action we take is a vote for the type of university we become. As we build this great place together, we do so in the small acts that show we care, and we will be better for it. And we already see some of the small things that make us great every day. You see in our faculty who give so much to our students. I hear repeatedly from our students and from our alumni that our faculty truly care for them and are their biggest advocates. They push them to succeed, but also make sure they have everything they need to succeed. And I'm sure you've noticed how beautiful the campus looks. So I want to thank Lenore Montgomery and her team of facilities for their work in making Fairmont State look and feel like a great place. I don't see our friends from Aladdin, but I want to thank them too for every detail they take at our events, including this wonderful breakfast with bacon today. There's also everyone in enrollment management who goes out and recruits the next generation of Falcons and helps them afford a high-quality education. Our student affairs team that helps our students discover why this is truly a great place to call home through innovative programming and daily support that many of us will never see. There are hundreds of other examples, and I can't go through them all today, but I will work tirelessly in the coming years to make sure I thank all of you for everything you do for Fairmont State. I know how hard you work for this place, and I'm committed to making sure your work is valued and appreciated. Your hard work is already starting to yield results. We had a great year last year. Let's look at a few of the things we accomplished. A total reorganization of student success, over $6 million in congressionally directed funding, a day of giving that raised nearly $531,000, beating our previous record by 43%. An inauguration with over 750 attendees. Acrobatics and tumbling were the MEC regular champions and hosts/participants in NCATA Nationals. We won a Mountain East Conference women's basketball tournament and finished third in the Commissioner's Cup, which recognized the success of all of our teams. We launched the Middle College with help from $2 million in state funding. We brought back music and theater minors and launched a new master's program in cybersecurity and risk management. We entered the planning stages of an outdoor recreation major, and a record number of faculty were hired and promoted. And then we also made Falcon Center memberships free for faculty and staff and their families, increased tuition benefits, obtained New York Times access, increased travel, per diem, and mileage rates, and let's not forget about trash bags. This is just a small sampling of what we accomplished. I could be up here for hours talking about all the great work that happened on campus the past 12 months. But as I've said, I'll be here for years to help you celebrate each of those successes. I'm excited for the future, and I'm looking forward to watching this list grow. Speaking of the future, we've introduced you to several new faces this morning, and I want to add to that list. You've already heard from two of them this morning, but I want to formally introduce you to our two new vice presidents who joined Fairmont State on August 5th. Dr. Jana Bredesen will be joining us as Vice President of Student Affairs. And George Wolf began as the Vice President of Enrollment Management. They bring a combined 63 years of experience with them to Fairmont State, and both have hit the ground running. Speaking of university leadership, we're opening two new searches next week to fill an interim role in a vacancy. We're searching for a new general counsel to fill that vacancy and looking for a permanent vice president to lead finance and administration. I do want to take a moment to thank John Nisbet for his hard work over the past few months. John has done so much in a short amount of time and will be a key player in onboarding our next permanent vice president. So let's give John a round of applause. We have some folks serving in new roles, as well as an entire unit that's been renamed and reimagined. University Relations and Marketing has been renamed Communication, Marketing, and Creative Services, or CMCS, to better reflect the breadth of services and contributions. CMCS has also been slightly reorganized to enhance their collaborative approach to solution finding. Dan Shea will serve as a Senior Director of CMCS, and their new website is fairmontstate.edu/CMCS. Tiffany Rochelle, Tiffany Rochella has been at Fairmont State since June 2020, but she started her new role as Presidential Events Coordinator in January. This is a new role for Fairmont State, and her responsibilities are wide-ranging. Tiffany is responsible for planning, organizing, executing all events involving the university president, including high-profile ceremonies like the inauguration, public appearances, and official functions. She assists in coordinating with various departments and manages logistics to ensure smooth and successful events that originate from the president's office. And if you've been to any of Tiffany's events, you know she's a rock star. So thank you, Tiffany. Our new Chief of Staff, Dr. Brian Selmeski, also started in January. Having served as a Chief of Staff before I came to Fairmont State, I can tell you that a Chief of Staff, every single one of their days is different, and you're going in 100 different directions. One of his most important responsibilities, though, is to serve as a facilitator between me and each of you. He's a master at keeping the larger picture in mind, and as a facilitator, he ensures I have all the information I need to be a successful president. Brian, thank you. There's one more new face arriving on campus soon, or maybe to say more accurately, an old face will be arriving with a new face list. We will soon be unveiling a new design for our Freddie the Falcon mascot. You can watch him hatch live at the first home game versus Seton Hill on Thursday, August 29th at 7 p.m. You can clap for that. As you know, both new and returning students move in later this week, but some of our newest Falcons have already arrived. Middle College at Fairmont State welcomes its first cohort of over 20 students who are residing in Pritchard Hall. I want to thank all of you in advance for making them feel at home. In addition to the football squad, several other Falcon athletics teams are starting their fall seasons as well, including cross country, golf, swimming, volleyball, tennis, and women's soccer. I encourage everyone to check out Falcon Athletics' website to learn more. I also hope each of you will check out the exciting cultural and intellectual programming planned for this fall. In November, the Maskers will stage the powerful and poignant landmark documentary play, The Laramie Project. And if you want an authentic taste of Appalachia, the Frank and Jane Gabor West Virginia Folklife Center is hosting the Warts and All Dulcimer Jam. Join them this Saturday, August 24th from 10 to 3. All acoustic instruments, so maybe we get a sitar out there, and skill levels are welcome, so dust off your guitars, banjos, and dulcimers to join the fun, or just drop by to listen to some music. I'm thrilled to announce a new presidential speaker series at Fairmont State. The series will bring scholars, thinkers, and leaders to campus for lively discussions of issues facing our society. They'll take place 4 to 5 times a year. This fall's visiting speakers will discuss the upcoming election, civic engagement, and the importance of civil dialogue. The first guest will join us on September 25th, so stay tuned for more details. We continue to work each day to make Fairmont State a great place to work. So I'll close with a few initiatives that we're launching to make this the best place to work in higher education in West Virginia. First, if you reside in West Virginia, you may pre-order a Fairmont State University specialty license plate from the West Virginia DMV. Preliminary interest applications are being accepted through December 31st. Once the university receives its first preliminary 100 interest applications, final design and production of these license plates will begin. I've already filled out my application, actually 2 of them, 1 for each car, and I urge you to do so as well. For information or to download your application, visit fairmontstate.edu/plate. Second, starting immediately, we will no longer be charging employees to park on campus. We have automatically stopped the payroll deduction for those who are paying for parking. If you did not drive to campus previously, you will still need to get a parking decal for your car, but there'll be no charge for that privilege. Finally, the Compensation Classification Committee will begin their work in earnest in the next few days. We will be hiring an outside consultant to compare our salaries to all of the regional publics in the state. As I said at my inauguration, if we're going to be the best regional public in the state, our salaries must reflect that. To this end, We have included a plan in our 2025-2026 year budget to give every full-time Fairmont State employee a 3% raise, and an additional $265,000 will be set aside to address issues of salaries of those employees who experience compression, inversion, or are significantly below the state averages for their positions. And I'm hopeful that this is just the beginning. Our goal is to make these type of raises a yearly occurrence. We need to recruit and retain more students to do that. We need to build new academic programs, construct new facilities, and build stronger community connections. As we do those things, it allows us to improve compensation and benefits and make this an even greater place to work. So keep pushing forward, and we'll find ways to recognize your commitment to Fairmont State. I was already excited for everything we're going to accomplish this year, but seeing each of you this morning has only increased my enthusiasm. As I know, many of you share my hope for the future. I urge you to remember this feeling and carry it with you throughout the year. I cannot wait to get to work with each of you this year to continue our shared mission to make Fairmont State a great place. Thank you. That's it at 10 o'clock exactly. Pretty good.
Oh my gosh, on the dot.